This episode is brought to you by Crimpd. This is the best app I have seen when it comes to self-coached training for rock climbing. If you are a self-coached climber or you're interested in training for the very first time, Crimpd was designed to give you a professional training experience right there in your pocket. All of the workouts in the app are crafted by world-class climbers and coaches, Tom Randall, who has been on the podcast, and his partner, Ollie Tor of Lattice Training. You can find workouts that are tailored to help you improve your endurance, your power endurance, your strength, power, conditioning, mobility, finger strength, you name it, it's in the app. With Crimpd, training on your own has never been easier. Check out crimpd.com. That's crimpd.com to get started and download the Crimpd app for free. That's crimpd.com or find the Crimpd app in the App Store to get started with your training. This episode is also brought to you by PhysiVantage. I have been taking the PhysiVantage Supercharged Collagen every day for several months now, and I love knowing that my tendons and my ligaments have all of the building blocks they need to get stronger. Supercharged Collagen is a research-based, athlete-proven supplement that supports collagen synthesis in connective tissues and the force transfer matrix of muscle. What does all that mean? Well, to me, it means that if you want stronger fingers, you should be supplementing with collagen. I personally am taking collagen an hour before my finger training to try to get the most out of my training so I can hopefully one day hang that damn Beastmaker center edge with one hand. I still have a long way to go, but I'm still making progress. I am doing my finger training every climbing day, and I definitely think the extra collagen is helping. If you would like to feel the PhysiVantage, head over to PhysiVantage.com and use code NUGGET15 at checkout to save 15% off your next order. That's PhysiVantage.com and use code NUGGET15 at checkout to save 15% off your order. Finally, this episode is brought to you by Chalk Cartel. I've tried a ton of different chalk in my 14 plus years of climbing, and this is my favorite. I love the texture. It's got the perfect amount of grit to it that makes it feel stickier than other chalks, and I swear to you, it stays on my hands longer than other chalks. And if you're trying a long boulder problem or a pumpy sport climb or trad climb, especially in the summer, we're getting into the warmer months here in the Northern Hemisphere, not having to stop and chalk up as often can make all the difference. Head over to chalkcartel.com to check out their shop. They've got quarters, they've got kilos, they've even got a sample pack for $3. I call that the dime bag. So you can try it out before diving elbow deep into your chalk bucket. And if you're already hooked like me, you can buy a subscription and have amazing chalk automatically sent to your house every month or every 2 months or every 3 months. All of their packaging is eco-friendly, so keeping your chalk bag full has never been easier or lower impact. So check it out. That's chalkcartel.com. Use code NUGGET at checkout for 20% off your next purchase and get ready to join the cartel. That's chalkcartel.com. Use code NUGGET at checkout for 20% off your next purchase. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Nugget Climbing Podcast. This is your host, Stephen Dimmitt. I say that every time. You guys know exactly who I am if you've been listening. My guest today is much more important than I am. Magnus Midtbø is my guest. Magnus is a professional climber from Norway turned professional YouTuber. This guy has been climbing incredibly hard for decades. He's climbed 515B and on-sighted 14C. That's 9B and 8C+, if you're listening to this from the other side of the world. He was also an incredibly successful competition climber. And after 17 years of competing, he got burnt out on competitions and became a YouTuber, making videos and putting them on YouTube. And after just 5 years of doing that, Magnus's YouTube channel recently hit 1 million subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. So I was really excited to talk to this guy. I've been following him for a really long time, since before his YouTube days. And of course, I was fascinated to get a glimpse behind the scenes. And I wanted to know what it's like to be a YouTuber. And it was really interesting. It's not the glamorous life that you would expect. It takes a ton of hard work. And it was super fascinating to hear about. Magnus is also very introverted and very insightful and thoughtful. And I thought he had a lot of great observations sprinkled in throughout this conversation about what sets some of the top rock climbers apart from the rest of us. We talked about takeaways from training with Adam Ondra, for instance, and I thought he had some really interesting insights from that. So lots of great stuff in this interview, ranging from YouTube to high-level rock climbing and training. And without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy. Here is Magnus Midtbø.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
Where are you in the world right now? Where am I talking to you from?
I'm in Oslo, Norway. So this is my home.
Okay. You're back home.
Yeah. I'm back home.
Yeah, when we were talking about doing this, I'm just going to roll right into it if you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Whatever.
Yeah, when we were talking about doing this, you were like, oh, I'm actually coming to California. Any chance you'll be in California? Can you tell me about your recent trip and what you've been up to?
Well, I don't know. When is this podcast coming out? Is it going to be out?
Probably
soon?
a month.
Because then the videos, in a month.
Like early June.
Some of the videos will be on my channel then.
Okay.
But so I did a lot of things. Like I haven't been traveling for 2 years. So I was just eager to start traveling again. And I did one collab with the Marines, like the US Marines down in San Diego, close to San Diego. And I did a few videos with Anton, the Russian Ninja Warrior guy, and with Geek Climber. I did one collab with Alex Honnold. So it's just doing a bunch of videos, you know. So now I'm just in editing mode, lockdown, just editing all those videos. So I have eight videos in total.
Okay. Man, yeah, there's so much there I want to dig into. I'd love to just kind of get a glimpse behind the scenes in this conversation, because it's been so fun to follow your channel and to see it grow. I've watched many of your videos, and I followed you before you started becoming a YouTuber, and just followed you as a rock climber. And I remember, reading your blog when you were projecting Neanderthal and things like that back in the day. So it's been fun to see it grow. And maybe that's a good place to start. I mean, I actually love to hear more about your early climbing later in the conversation, but how did this YouTube thing get started for you?
Well, in 2017, I was kind of tired of doing the same thing. Like I'd been competing from year 2000. So 17 years almost. And I was just really tired of competing and everything. And I wanted to do something else. And I have no like formal education or anything to fall back on. So I knew that I had to do something else. So 2017 was the year I started the climbing gym that I do all my videos in Oslo. And I started YouTube. I moved to a house that I wanted to renovate. But at the same time, I also wanted to train for the Olympics. So that was kind of the plan. But then it was just too much at the same time. And I had to choose something that I like doing. And I chose YouTube, even though it was very sketchy, because I didn't, like in the beginning, I didn't have any subscribers or views or anything. So it was kind of a gamble, but like I still had some sponsors, and that allowed me to kind of pursue that passion or to see if it would work, because I still had some income from my sponsors and stuff. So I don't know, I just started uploading videos, and I don't know, I really enjoyed that. So I think that's what started it. But yeah, I don't know. I was a professional climber for many, many years. But I should have retired sooner, I think. I should have retired in 2015, because the last 2 years I was just it felt more like my job, and it shouldn't feel like that. So
yeah.
But I had like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and I thought YouTube would be easy because I would just get those who follow me on Instagram to follow me on YouTube. But it doesn't work like that. The longer format on YouTube is very different from the short format on Instagram. So it was definitely not as easy as I thought it'd be.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'd love to hear, who do you think your audience is? Because, and this is something I like really relate to you in a lot of ways. I mean, I like hope to have any like percentage of your success in the future. You're just absolutely killing it, which is so cool. But the longer form, kind of gravitating towards like longer, raw, kind of authentic, just storytelling, just showing people behind the scenes, like letting people listen to a 2-hour conversation, feels similar to what you've kind of moved into with the podcast. But you have 1 million subscribers, and that's really inspirational for me as someone in this little niche of climbing and talking about climbing. Like, it's hard for me to believe that there's enough people that want to hear this for me to make a living off of it. But then seeing what you do, I'm like, oh, okay, that's just like this limitation I've created in my head. But I'm curious, like, who do you think your audience is? Are these people that go out rock climbing, or are these people that basically just want to watch like your version of reality TV that you've created?
Yeah, I used to say 50-50, 50% climbers and 50% non-climbers. But I guess now it's more like 60-40 or even 70-30 or something.
Okay.
Like 30% climbers or 40% climbers. So, but I started with, I think in the beginning it was like 100% climbers, and then gradually more non-climbers. But also I think people who were non-climbers but then started climbing or tried climbing and now climb a little bit. But I definitely think also out of those who follow me who are climbers, I think that like probably the average is like climbs around like V2, maybe V1, V2, V3, somewhere around there. But also as I'm growing now, I try to kind of reach broader, like try to do not only climbing videos, but I also make other types of videos. And that's, I mean, yeah, I think that's the way to go. Like, you start with a niche, and then you try to, as you grow, you try to reach like a broader audience. But I will always do, like, climbing is obviously my passion, and that's what I've been doing for a long time. And that's also the thing that I'm the best at. So I'm definitely going to stick to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear from your perspective just about how this thing has evolved, because watching it early on, it was you going out climbing with your friends, you climbing in the gym with your friends. I think one of your early videos is actually how I first got introduced to Emil. I've had him on the show, and I now follow his channel. That's really fun, but it's really evolved to all these collaborations that you do. I actually was just catching up on some of your episodes this morning. I watched 2 challenge videos. I watched I wonder if I should even try to describe it on a podcast, but it's the one where you're holding on to a campus rung, like it's in your hands, it's not screwed onto the wall, and you have one end against the campus board, and you're trying to like hang there in space, just like watching you try this funny thing that people have sent you on Instagram, and you just like eating shit, falling on your back over and over and trying to figure out how to do it. And then you like doing this Norwegian military test that just looks like absolutely heinous. But for whatever reason is like so engaging to watch. I'm like watching you guys on the treadmill just like glued to the screen. But tell me how it's evolved.
I think it's a lot about the editing, to be honest. That's what people don't get. I spend like probably 3-4 times as much time editing compared to like most people. Like an average video takes me 30 or 40 hours to edit.
Wow.
I could have done it in like 5 or 10 hours easily, but I by spending a lot of extra time, I think that's what makes the biggest difference, like the video I'm editing today, I've already spent like 35, 40 hours, and it's like, it's 95% there. But I always, when I go through it now from the beginning, I always find new mistakes and new things that I want to change. And then at some point I just have to like give it away. Like, I will always find things that I can improve on. And I think I'm a kind of a perfectionist in that way. I used to be that way with climbing, and now I'm like that with videos. It's not like, of course, there's a lot of things that can improve, but I think I'm never like truly happy with the video. I know a lot of people who are really proud of what they're producing and stuff, but I always, when I go and look at my video, it can also be like a recent video. I'm just like, oh, I should have done that better, or I could have changed that, or we should have filmed that from a different angle or something. So I think that's what kind of makes my videos special, maybe. That I spend a lot of time perfecting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's something that really fascinates me about you, because I have like my own version of that. And it's interesting. I also kind of identify as a perfectionist and it's so much easier with audio, but I still will, I'll record like a 2-hour conversation and spend like 6 hours editing that to just try to make it a little bit better, just tighten it up and deliver it to the listener the best way I can. And, I get the same thing that you probably get where, it's almost like 50-50. Like half the people that listen and love the show are like, wow, I can tell you put a ton of work into this. Thank you for what you do. It like really shows in your work. And then the other half are like, oh, you talk to people and put it on the internet. Like that sounds really easy. But, they don't do the thought experiment of like, well, I do this every week. So every week I have to like find a guest, reach out to them, connect with them, get to know them, schedule them, get them on the podcast, edit that, etc. Like there's a lot of steps, and I'm the only one doing that. So when I do that thought experiment with you, I'm just like, how the fuck do you do all this, man? Like it seems like it must be so much work.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, behind success, no matter what you're successful at, there's so much work. You have to work harder than other people. And for me, like I have one guy filming for me occasionally. I sometimes film myself too, but I edit like 99% of my videos. No one sees the video until it's uploaded to YouTube.
Wow.
Not even my girlfriend. So it's like, it's definitely a one-man show, but I like it that way. I could have probably produced a lot more if I had like a team or whatever, but I think it's much more personal this way. And I think that's also part of the success of the channel is to be a little bit more personal. There are a lot of climbing channels out there who have like a big budget and a big team, and it's nice too, but I think I'm going to try to keep it more personal.
Yeah, you do a really good job with that. And that actually makes me think of a question that I wanted to ask you, which is, like, for people that haven't seen your show, I'll give them a little more context right here, which is, most of your episodes are 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that. It'll usually feature something unique and specific, like that Instagram challenge that you tried. And then a lot of the time it's just the rest of the video is just like you doing your climbing session in the gym. It's like you trying to send some boulder projects that you have, you doing like the slab of the week, maybe some training content at the end of it. And it's fast. Like, I want to ask you, like, why do you think that is so interesting? Because it's very interesting. Like, I love watching it, and I get glued to these episodes, and I don't totally understand why. It's like I'm watching this guy who I've never met climb in the gym. And you're an amazing climber, so I'm like learning a lot from you just by watching you climb, but you're just like circuiting V8s or whatever. Why do you think this format is so engaging and so interesting to a million people?
I honestly think it's the pacing of the videos, and I think it's the music. Also, of course, the climbing a little bit and everything, but it's a lot of the editing is so important. If I've tried to give my material, like I film and give it to someone else, and the video is like, it's so boring to watch because they don't trim it down. They don't cut away all the dead meat. It's like the essence of the video. There's not a second in the video, not even a split second, not even one frame that shouldn't be there, So it's so fast paced that you're kind of glued to it, I think that's what it is. I mean, there's nothing else that I could think of, it's not like, I'm a good climber, but I'm not the best climber. So it would make more sense to watch someone else. So I don't really know. I also think that it's very honest, the video, and personal. Like I said, it's, I think that's also something that makes me a little bit different.
Yeah, that resonates with me a lot, actually.
It feels like watching a friend, kind of. That's what people say. And when people come up to me on the street, they often start a conversation and they kind of seem surprised that I don't know them. Because they've been watching, hours of me. And I get it, I think it's nice. I take that as a compliment that they feel like they know me.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's really cool.
I think that's the thing with YouTube. That's what makes YouTube creators different from like movie stars or other celebrities. You know, when you see a YouTuber on the street, you feel like you know the person. When you see like a movie star, they're kind of, you don't want to approach them because they feel like, I don't know, bigger than life, or like they're celebrities. You know, I don't consider myself a celebrity. I'm just making videos on YouTube.
Right. I mean, you're so right. That's happening right now. Like we've never met before. We've never talked before, but I feel really comfortable because I feel like I know you really well from watching all your stuff.
Yeah.
And usually I try to reach out to guests beforehand and talk with them and get to know them, but I didn't feel like I had to do that this time. I mean, for one, you're a very busy guy, but yeah, that's really cool. And something I just learned about you this morning, actually, I was watching a video that Climbers Crag put out, kind of like you know, I think it was called The Unfiltered Story, how you started creating your YouTube channel. But you talked about being an introvert, and I thought that was really interesting because that resonates with me as well. Like I literally spend my time talking to people and sharing that, and yet that's like really the bulk of my social interaction, and most of my time is spent living alone in a van. So that's kind of fascinating to me. Like, what do you think it is about sharing yourself through this medium that resonates with you or that you feel drawn to? Like, what is going on there as an introvert who's, you know, in front of the camera all the time? That's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I think it's, but I've always been this way, you know, pretty introverted. Like most of the people I know on YouTube are the same way. So I definitely think there's something, but I don't really know what it is. I just know that I feel like I socialize whenever I upload a video and I see the comments and stuff. I don't really know if it's a good thing, but I definitely feel like I know the people that watches my videos and the regular comments and stuff. So I don't really know what it is, but yeah, it sounds like you're kind of the same way. I would also love to live in a van and just be independent and not have to rely on anyone. Yeah. But I think many people are like that. You know, some people socialize through like gaming and stuff too. I feel like it's a little bit similar, kind of. The only difference here is that it's like a one-way communication. You know, you're talking to them and they don't talk to you, or you don't see their face. I guess that's the biggest difference.
Do you meet people through doing this that have become real friends, like people that have gotten to know you and connect with what you're making, and then you've met them?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of friends who do the same now. And I think I've said this before, but in many ways, I have more in common with someone who does YouTube or maybe even podcast than someone who climbs, because most of my time is spent on YouTube. And even though I climb, I just spend a fraction of the time that I spend doing all the YouTube stuff. So I definitely have, but I don't socialize that much, to be honest. I'm mostly either training or kind of hiking or doing something with my girlfriend, or doing YouTube stuff. So I don't really have that much time at the moment for that. But hopefully I will have more time for that in the future. I definitely see this YouTube thing as something that I have right now, and it might not be here forever. And I should definitely like take advantage of it while I still can. And in a few years, the channel is probably going to die out. That's inevitable. I think all channels die out at some point. And then I can kind of go back to I can do what I used to do, like travel around, climb, and have more time with like friends and family. But now I just want to make the most out of YouTube.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Is that because it's difficult to maintain novelty and people just, you know, they see the same thing long enough and they lose interest? Or is that because it doesn't feel sustainable for you over the long term? Why is it that you say it's
probably more about me.
Yeah.
I think it's like the creative side of it, you know, always having like a new title and thumbnail in mind. Like you mentioned, you know, usually there's something happening in the video and then the rest is like climbing. But you need some like hook, you need a thumbnail and a title. And like to constantly think of new things and new ideas is pretty hard. So I don't really know. I think you always have to evolve. You have to and it's hard to evolve constantly, because you only have a week on each video. So it's not like you can, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I don't get any better because I always have to put out videos, I can't perfect a video. Yeah, I don't know. And also like probably in the future, like up until now, it's been mostly climbing videos. I don't know if that's going to be the case in the future. It might be more like just different videos. I definitely want to make other types of videos as well. And I've been doing that more and more as my audience has grown.
Can you give some examples of that? What are some other things that interest you?
Like the military stuff that I did. Those have been some of the most popular videos on my channel. And also collaborations with other people that are not climbers, like bodybuilders. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like the stranger the idea, the more views it will get, It's something that you never thought would work. You just feel like this is a total like mismatch.
Yeah.
My audience is not going to like this, but then I don't know. So I think not being afraid of trying new things is also important. and for me too, like I've climbed for 20 years, professionally for 15 years and competed. And even though I was never like the world's best, I will never be any better than I was. So for me, it's not, I'm like a type of person who is not motivated to just keep going at a kind of a lower grade, I want to do something different, or I want to do what I've already done better. So I'm just hungry to do something else. And now this YouTube thing it is more similar than you would think to like competition climbing, or just it's very competitive with the views and everything going on behind the scenes. So
yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I feel that a little bit with the podcast too. Like there's some elements of it that have the same appeal as like climbing up through the grades of, sport climbing or something, where you're like getting more viewers, you're getting more listens, you're getting more downloads, you're getting a bigger, following, you're getting more reviews. It's, that there's some part of me that really feeds on that as well, I think.
It used to be the same with 8a.nu for me.
Okay.
Logging routes on 8a.nu. I remember all my friends thought it was silly to log routes. Like climbing outside at least wasn't supposed to be like a competition, but that would be the most fun thing about outdoor climbing would be to get back in the evening and to log my routes and to see it on my scorecard.
Yeah.
So it feels pretty similar in many ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we should clarify. I mean, you're a very humble guy, but you still are one of the best rock climbers in the world. I know that you'll probably shake your head at that, but I mean, you climbed 15B like quite a few years ago when like very, very few people had. I don't know how many, but I mean, probably count them on our hands.
At the time, I think it was 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So you certainly were and still are one of the best. But what you're really known for people that haven't seen your show or know much about you, is that you're just like insanely strong. You've always just been you've always been able to do these like incredible human feats of strength in the training realm, whether that's one-arm pull-ups, or I've seen you do like a one-arm, I'm blanking on the name of that. What is that called? A muscle up. A one-arm muscle up, which is just totally mind-blowing. But with all these military things, like you're able to keep up with, all these collaborations with like bodybuilders, with gymnasts, with military guys, with so many different things. And I'm sure that gets you a lot of views. There's like a masochism there that, people are like fascinated by watching you suffer.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever come up with an idea that is going to get a lot of views and you're like, fuck, like, am I really going to do this? Like, do you dread it? Like, do you enjoy it? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, the latest one I had sort of the same, like as I mentioned, I did a collaboration with Alex Honnold. It's not out on the channel yet. I don't know if it will be by the time this podcast is out, but we were just going to do like a like a boulder session, like a normal boulder session in the bouldering room in Las Vegas. I was going to his place. But then the night before, like as we were driving to Vegas, he called me and asked me if I wanted to go free soloing instead.
Oh boy.
And I was like really hesitant at first, but he like assured me that it was really easy and I would have no trouble with it. But that's definitely one of the scariest things I've done for the channel. You know, I feel like the physical stuff is like, yeah, you get tired, you get exhausted, but I don't know. That's kind of for me at least, it's kind of a rush to get really tired and exhausted. But to risk your life is a little bit different. So I was very hesitant, and I did not say yes to it. We went to the cliff the next day, and because I told him I had to look at it. You know, it would be a lot easier to say yes if we climbed it with a rope first. But we didn't have time to do that, so we just like started. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but that's definitely something that was really scary.
Yeah. Damn. Literally putting your life on the line to get some views.
Exactly. And I don't know how it will be received either. Because it's pretty stupid to do stuff for a video. And also I know that a lot of people are against free soloing. And I might get like calls from parents and stuff. Angry parents. But we'll see. I don't know. As long as I tell people that don't try this, I think it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, if you're going to do a collaboration with Alex Honnold, like you're kind of asking for it.
That's what I told myself too. Yeah, that's how I justified it.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to sprinkle in some questions that I got from listeners for you throughout this conversation. This one is from Cody. What are some of your favorite collaborations that you've done, both with climbers and non-climbers? Which ones really stand out? Just the most fun.
The most fun. I did like the Eric Carlson ones in the beginning. It was really nice just because I had never met any other YouTubers. I was just doing it by myself for like half a year or 9 months or something. And then meeting him and being able to talk about like YouTube and stuff was really nice. I think that was the first collaboration I ever did. So that is definitely a nice one. And the one with Tom and Juji while they were still together. That was the thing that really kickstarted everything. And if it wasn't for that, I would probably not be talking to you right now, because I don't think I would have continued YouTube.
Can you tell me more about that one? What was it that you guys did?
Yeah, no. So I'd done YouTube for a little over a year, and I was at like 40,000 subscribers. I didn't make any money off of YouTube. And I had periods where I didn't upload in a month or two because I was kind of tired of it. And then all of a sudden I got a message from Tom Boyden, who is the guy filming or used to be the guy filming for Juji. And he asked me if I wanted to do a collaboration with them. Because Alex Megos and Alex Honnold had said no. But they're not on YouTube, so I get why they would say no. But I looked at their channel and I immediately said yes, because they had done like a grip challenge video that went viral, and they wanted some like pro climber to try that grip strength video. So they paid for the flights over to the US, and I had no idea if it was going to be successful or not. But within like 3 days, we filmed 11 videos, and it was crazy. And Tom was doing all the editing and filming and everything. And I don't know, it was just meeting them and seeing like how professional YouTubers did it, I think really helped me. And after that, like within a week, I went from 40,000 subscribers to like 110,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And that was like the turning point. From then I didn't make a lot of money or anything, but I could make enough to like justify the time I spent on YouTube. I went like from zero to actually making something. And that's when I decided to just go for it. And from then I did I did more collaborations with them, and that, helped me to keep growing. And I think, that following 2 years I grew really fast because of Tom and Juji, but now they've split up and they don't make videos anymore. But that's definitely something that really helped me.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen many of those. I know I follow Juji. I think he's just such a riot, just so entertaining. I follow him on Instagram. But can you describe Juji for people that haven't seen these?
Yeah, he's acrobat, bodybuilder, and a powerlifter. And he's kind of funny. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's a little bit goofy, has long hair, really big muscles. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's strange that people like that collaboration. We're kind of complete opposites, him and me. He's very, I don't know, outgoing and energetic. I'm kind of more an introverted, very skinny compared to him. Just very different. I don't know. But he's a really nice guy. And Tom as well is a really nice guy. So it's a shame that they split up. And also through them, I've met a lot of people. Like Devin Larrett, who's an arm wrestler. The video I've made with him is still the most popular video on my channel, I think.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah. So it definitely opened many doors for me. And it's just so random,
Yeah.
Really random.
To paint a little bit more of a picture of Juji for people that haven't seen this guy, he's like, I don't know, he's probably 220 pounds, bodybuilder, just jacked. And I think the first video I ever saw of him was just like an Instagram reel or something. And he's like on 2 chairs with his feet holding like, I don't know, 200 pounds over his head with his arms, barbell with his arms locked out just straight overhead, and just like slowly does the splits between the 2 chairs. It's just so freaking badass, but he just seems like a total character. What are some things that you learned from them, if anything, if any specifics come to mind? Like what were some of those light bulb moments that you observed from working with them?
Well, the biggest thing was just that in every video, they would shout out my channel. They would say, go to Magnus, subscribe to him. That would be the biggest thing. So I would get a lot of new subscribers. But Tom also helped me not have as much shame, kind of be a little bit more aggressive with my thumbnails and titles. Before that, I used to spend a lot of time on my videos, but no time on my thumbnails and titles. It would just be like climbing a 7B or something would be my title. And he was just, you're stupid. Like he was very straightforward. You're so stupid. Why are you doing that? You should do it the other way around. You should spend more time on the thumbnail and titles.
So basically like shameless self-promotion is what he was.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Calling yourself a pro climber, stuff like that. Naming yourself in third person. Just, I don't know. You have to think like someone who's never watched your channel and never seen your face should want to click on a video. That should always be the goal. So no matter who, it shouldn't have to be a climber even. No matter who comes to your channel, they should want to click your video. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing I learned from them. And also just, I don't know, just work ethics, kind of how much they were able to produce always made me feel kind of lazy. I think that was the biggest thing. Yeah. And also, just not caring too much about what other people think, because I got a lot of criticism in the beginning from other climbers, calling me a sellout and everything. So I was very conscious of what I put out. And I think they helped me to not care so much about that stuff.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that is an interesting thing about climbing. Like, I don't know why we do that as a group, but we do seem to want to like judge people that don't have this like purity in their love for rock climbing, like, and it's going away because there's so many more people now that, they grow up dreaming of being on the Olympic team someday and they just want to spend all their time training in a gym or whatever. Like there's so many ways to enjoy this sport. But that sucks that you got that, that negative feedback at first.
No, but I mean, I think maybe it made me even stronger. Like I think it was probably good for me, yeah, I don't know.
With all these challenges that you've done, all these people that you've collaborated with, just as far as like physical abilities, achievements, who have you been the most impressed by?
Physical. Maybe actually, maybe Anton, the Russian ninja warrior guy. He's one of the people who really impressed me. He's so like all rounded. He's so good in so many different things. He's like super strong and flexible, and just he's like a multi-talent. So I think it's a good question. Actually, I've never been asked that, but I think Anton is the most impressive person I've met when it comes to like physically.
What are some of the things that he had you try in your collaborations that just like felt impossible to you?
Even when we do, like, he's not a climber, and even when we do grip strength things, like he's a little bit heavier than me, but not much. But like grip strength things, he's able to do it almost as well as I am, and also with like one-arm pull-ups and stuff, even though that's not what he does. So I definitely think he's really impressive. Yeah, apart from that, of course, like Adam Ondra, when it comes to climbing, is really impressive. I met him before doing YouTube. Like I've competed with him for many years, but he's definitely impressive, and also his mentality and just the way he's able to push himself is impressive.
I'm glad you brought him up, because I was kind of burning to ask you about him later in this conversation. You guys did like a whole series together and spent some time filming and made a bunch of videos for your channel and for his. And he's like, same as you, like he's like my number one as far as rock climbing goes. Like he is the guy. I'm so impressed with just the amount of dedication he puts into every aspect of climbing, like everything you could possibly work on as a human to get better at climbing. You know, his visualization, his like ballet, like stretching, breathing, like whatever. He's just willing to take everything and push it as far as he can. What are some things that you learned from spending all that time with Adam?
Well, this was actually just 4 days for the collaboration, but I have spent more time with him in the past. We've traveled together to like Asia for World Cups and stuff. So I knew him pretty well already. But I mean, it's the when you're around Adam, he makes you feel lazy. He makes you feel like you could have done so much more, and you should try so much harder. And I don't know, I think that's really good for everyone. You know, some people get stressed, me included, being around people like that, because we don't like feeling lazy, you know. But I think it's good once in a while to have this like wake up. So I definitely think that's the biggest thing. So he makes me feel lazy when it comes to climbing, and Tom and Juji used to make me feel lazy when it came to like YouTube and editing and stuff. And surrounding yourself with people like that, I think is good. Yeah. No matter what you're doing in life.
Yeah, well, it is interesting though, because I mean, I guess Juji does, you know, he spends a lot of time working on himself, just physically doing all his lifting and things. But, you know, Adam, that's what he does. Juji, the YouTubing is more what he does. And you're kind of trying to do both. Like you're trying to maintain a really high level of rock climbing and make these really high quality videos. And you put one out every week, is that right?
I'm trying to, but not always. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, you put out an incredible amount of content. Like hearing that you spend 30 to 40 hours editing a video, like, I mean, it probably, doing a whole podcast episode, like prepping for it, recording it, editing it, polishing it, putting it on the internet, making the show notes, it's probably like a 20-hour process for me. So, and I'm like, I think I have to think about balance a lot. I'm trying to improve as a rock climber as well on the side. So I'd love to hear how you think about balance, because you are someone that makes me feel lazy, you know? I'm like, at some point, like we can only do so much. So how do you think about balance and pushing yourself versus making sure that what you're doing is sustainable so you don't totally burn out?
Yeah, I don't really have any balance. I'm terrible at balance. Yeah, but
Next
when I
question.
focus on something, I'm just like focused on that.
Yeah.
That has always been my problem in life. You know, as soon as I found climbing, I stopped doing school because I was so focused on one thing. And it feels the same way now. Like as soon as I discovered YouTube, I stopped climbing. I still climb, I still record videos, but people are always surprised when they hear how little I train. So most of my physique is from the 20 years or whatever I've spent climbing. And now I'm maintaining that with like training 2 times a week, maybe on average. And also, I don't know, recording the videos is actually pretty physically demanding sometimes. So I never count that as a session, but it definitely is a session. And I push myself actually. I think it's good. So I've said this too, but I think it's like when I fail myself, I always try a little bit harder because I feel like I'm being observed. So I should probably count the filming sessions as well.
Yeah, I mean, I often get tired just from watching you in those filming sessions.
Yeah.
So they're not nothing.
Yeah. No, definitely not. But yeah, no problem. The problem has always been balance. But I think it's also good because I'm so focused when I find something that I want to go after. So that used to be climbing. And when I climbed professionally, I would only have climbing friends. I would never do anything outside climbing. I would like travel. You spend every holiday traveling. I would not go to like funerals and weddings and I don't know, just
Just climbing.
just climbing, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's the same way with YouTube, you know.
You might
but
have
I really enjoy it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I think we, I don't know. I mean, as a society, we've kind of decided that like a balanced life is this thing to be striving for, but it's really arbitrary. Like no one really knows exactly what that is. And I think it's really different for everybody.
Yeah, people always told me that I sacrifice so much, but it doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing anything, to be honest. You know, I feel like I sacrifice time when I do something that is not YouTube related or used to be climbing related. That's when I feel like I sacrifice something.
Yeah.
And I think if you're really obsessed with something, it feels that way. And if you want to become really good at something, it has to feel that way. I know a few people who have balance, who are able to do that and perform on a really high level. And I was always kind of jealous at them. But I'm not like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I would guess that those people, if you're talking about high level performers, are probably the exception because like by definition, if you're standing out in a sport, you're not the norm. Like you can't, you know, like Adam Ondra is not normal. That's why he's Adam Ondra, right? Like,
yeah. Yeah, no, he does. He definitely has the same kind of mindset. I think he's very also focused, but he's not like he's still able to like he speaks like 5 languages. I think he has some education. I don't know.
Yeah,
like a bachelor or something. So he has some. I don't know how he does it. You know, with everything he's doing, that he's able to learn 5 languages and have a bachelor. But that's definitely something I could never have done that. And I think for me also, especially while climbing professionally, I wanted to feel like I didn't have any plan B. I wanted climbing to be my only way so that I didn't set myself up for failure. I think if I had something to fall back on, I would not train as hard.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like keeping a foot out the door.
Exactly. Yeah. Even though for some people that might help them to perform, you know, they feel more relaxed and they're able to perform better.
That takes the pressure off. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
We will be right back after a quick message from one of our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Petzl. I have been using Petzl harnesses, quick draws, and belay devices for more than a decade. I love this company and their products. And today I want to talk about helmets. One of the things we love about climbing is the unknown. Is that hold a jug or a sloper? Am I too pumped? Am I good enough to climb this route that I'm trying? We live for the unexpected, but no one expects to hit their head while climbing. Impacts to the front, the side, and rear of the head happen when you least expect it. A foot slips, your rope snags on a rock, and suddenly you flip upside down and you find yourself somewhere you don't want to be. That's why Petzl goes above and beyond UIAA and CE helmet standards to give you an extra level of protection on the top and side of their helmets. Top and side protection comes standard in their entire helmet lineup, so whether you're in the mountains or at the crag, you can experience the difference with Petzl. You can learn more and shop for helmets at your local climbing shop or go to petzl.com. That's Petzl.com. Again, shop for Petzl helmets at your local climbing shop or online at petzl.com. Experience the difference with Petzl. And now back to the show. Well, I think it'd be really interesting to dig into more of the behind the scenes of like what your lifestyle actually looks like. We've been talking about this throughout this conversation, but can you take me through like a typical week? You have 2 climbing sessions a week where you are just kind of trying to maintain your level, but you also are filming on top of that. Take me through like a week in the life of Magnus. What does that look like?
Well, there's no ordinary week. This week I have so much footage that I can just edit the whole time. So now I'm editing from when I get up to when I go to bed. I take some breaks during the day. And then at like 9-10 p.m. at night, I'm like, I want to do something. So then sometimes I just go for a hike, or I go climbing at the gym. I usually go climbing at the gym alone when it's closed. So after, 10:30 on weekdays, it closes at 10:30. But usually during the weekends, because then it closes earlier. But I just like to be alone when I'm training for some reason. But during the day, I'm just editing the whole day. I have some, I have meetings and stuff that I have to go, and just of course a lot of emails and sponsors and different stuff. Because I'm also part owner of a few gyms, and I have my clothing brand and the book and everything. So usually I start the day by just answering emails, spend like an hour or 2 doing that, and then I start editing. And then as soon as I run out of material, I'm just start planning the next trip to go and collect more.
Yeah.
So that's, it's not very exciting. People think I live a very exciting life, but they're very wrong.
Yeah. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. The most satisfaction I ever get is when I'm about to upload a video, because I've worked so long on it and I'm just excited to be finished, and just release it and never have to touch it again. I've tried to explain it to my girlfriend, and I feel like I never studied a day in my life, but I feel like it's kind of like delivering your masters. That's what it feels like. Every week you deliver a master.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm laughing because
I'm just like, when I upload the video, I'm so done with it because I've watched through it probably like 40 times, and everything from like the rough cut up until like the detailed editing and color grading and sound design and everything. So I'm so glad when it's uploaded and I press the publish. That's the most happy I am.
That's so wild, man. I was just laughing a second ago because I've literally described what I do as feeling like every week is finals week, and I have like a big paper to turn in at the end of the week. And God, like once again, if I like do the thought experiment of all the steps that it takes to put out a video versus a podcast, it just like blows my mind what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people who don't do it at all, they think it's very little work.
Right.
If I talk to people who are not into like creating anything for social media or anything, like they're always surprised by how busy I am. When I say I'm busy, they're like laughing, kind of, what are you busy doing? You know, aren't you a YouTuber? So
Right.
I think a lot of people don't get it, and sometimes it can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as far as that goes, who are the people that have really validated you? Like, are there YouTubers who have patted you on the shoulder and said, like, dude, I see how hard you're working. You're killing it. Good job. You know, people that get it, that have really made you feel validated?
Yeah, I mean, almost everyone I talk to, or everyone who does YouTube, I feel like they validate me. But I feel like a lot of climbers that don't get how much time I put into it, you know, asking me why I don't film more outside, you know, stuff like that. Which I obviously, it's a good question, you know. I've answered it so many times. And that's obviously because I don't get as many views, and filming outside is really hard compared to filming inside. So I prefer to go outside and climb on my own and just really enjoy that on my own, rather than filming it and spending twice as much time making an outdoor video and getting just half of the views.
That's so interesting. Yeah.
Because even though I enjoy the process and everything, at the end of the day, it's also a job, you know. So,
do you do anything to create structure? Like, do you have like a calendar or a schedule? Do you like try to, you know, wake up at a certain time with an alarm, or is every day just wake up when you wake up, answer some emails, and then just edit all day?
Yeah, not really. I've never been good at structure.
Okay.
It was also the same when I trained for climbing. I never really had a plan or anything. I just tried really hard. And but I think you'd be surprised by how many climbers, like professional climbers, who don't have plans. Like people, I think people think that like professional climbers have a very strict training plan, but at least when I competed, it wasn't like that at all.
Yeah, that's super interesting. I'd love to dig into that more. What are the things that you think? What are the commonalities between them? If it's not the structured plan, what are the things that those people are doing that other people aren't doing?
It's trying really hard and trying more. It's people. I feel like people overcomplicate things. You know, it's getting stronger is about pulling harder. It's not that difficult. It's about pulling harder, but also trying not to get injured. Luckily, I've never had any injuries, so I've been lucky in that way. But yeah, no, and that's why climbing outside can also be a good idea, because if you work on a project, you wanna try a little bit harder because you want to send the project.
Yeah. I want to ask you, like, what climbing means to you now. You described it earlier in this conversation as your passion. Like, you're still going to have climbing as part of your YouTube channel because it's your passion. How do you think about yourself as a climber, or what does climbing mean to you now, you know, compared to this passion that you have of just pursuing YouTube and making these videos for their own sake? Do you still have goals with climbing? Like, how does it feel to think about climbing?
I don't really have any goals with climbing, to be honest. I'm never going to be better than I was. And so I don't think it's very motivating. I mean, it would be fun to climb an 8C boulder, V15, because I've never done that. I've climbed V14, but not V15. And that's something I think I can do if I really focused on it. So I think that would be a nice goal. But when it comes to like lead climbing, I will never be any better than I was. But no, for me, I just feel really good when I climb. and I can do it by myself without any music or anything. I'm just so motivated by the climbing. I love going. I love going outside climbing, and I also love going inside climbing. I love climbing without filming it. I mean, climbing for me is kind of like a meditation. You know, it's like I escape. It's my escape from YouTube and the digital life that I'm living now.
Going back to a week in the life, how much or how often do you go indoor climbing by yourself versus outdoor climbing versus climbing for filming? What does the balance look like for you?
Right now, it's 100% for myself climbing because I have so much footage, so I don't have to film anything. And also, when I do it, I don't use like Instagram or Snapchat or anything else while climbing either. I leave my phone and I just focus on the climbing. But I don't climb that much outside either. Norway is kind of cold and the season is kind of limited. But yeah, I'm just gonna. I always get a dry throat when I talk for a long time.
No worries.
I'm just gonna drink a little bit.
Yeah, me too. What do you have? You have two different beverages there. What do you have with you?
Tea and carbonated water.
Okay.
I stopped drinking coffee like half a year ago.
Why is that?
That was my New Year's resolution. I wasn't sleeping well at night, so I thought it'd be a good idea to at least try to stop drinking coffee, and it actually really helps. So
really,
yeah.
Damn it!
Because I was drinking it like pretty late.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was the problem.
Okay.
I could probably start doing it again, but I think I would just fall into the same bad habit of drinking, like doing it a little bit later and later and later, and then not being able to sleep. So.
Okay, what were we talking about? I was asking you about the balance of everything. I think you answered that. One of the videos that you put out that was more interesting to me of all the things that you've shared was your maintenance session. Like at one point, I think recently you shared like, this is kind of a standard climbing / training session. Like if I get a couple of these in a week, I can maintain my strength pretty well. And it was really simple. But could you describe that? Could you take me through what like a normal just maintenance, just trying to maintain your strength gym session looks like?
Yeah, so I would like it's easier for me if I come to a gym that has a lot of new boulders, because I usually don't have time to make boulders, so I want to climb the ones that are already set. So if I've been gone for a couple of weeks and I come back to the gym for a month and there are plenty of new boulders, I will just come in, warm up, climb maybe up to like B7, B8, then do some hangboarding, and then try the hardest boulders. And that's pretty much it. Just trying the hardest boulders. That's what makes me in. And doing dead hangs on the Beastmaker and doing lock-offs. Those are my like two go-to exercises, especially the dead hangs. I feel like that makes me a lot stronger.
Mm-hmm. It seems like you just always do one grip, that center edge, and that's it. Just a few max hangs per hand.
Yeah, 6 seconds, half crimp.
Okay. Pretty simple.
It's that simple. It's very simple.
Yeah.
You know, it's you don't need any like complicated plan or anything to become good at climbing. People think they do, but some people probably do. If you need, like, I think it just depends. Some people need more of a plan.
Mm-hmm. And it seems like you always gravitate towards just like the commercial gym boulders, the ones that are set by route setters, versus like spending time on a moonboard or a spray wall or things like that. Is that true? Like, why do you spend time in the normal gym versus spending more time on a board? Is it just more fun?
Because I think it's more fun.
Okay.
Yeah. So I try harder.
Okay.
And we have good route setters. And yeah, since I don't, if I was climbing like 4 or 5 times a week, I would run out of problems and I would have to use the kilter board or the moon board. But when I only train 2 times, that's the benefit of training 2 times a week. I can come to the gym and I have plenty of boulders to try.
Yeah.
So
nice.
And that's also the thing. Like every session, I feel like completely recovered. So it's never like I never climb like easy problems or anything, because I'm always ready to try hard because I rest so much.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that was often the problem when I was training for competitions and stuff. I felt guilty if I wasn't training. So I would sometimes train too much. And I would get a lot of those like 80% sessions where I was just too tired to try 100%. And they can be good once in a while, but I don't think they're going to make you much stronger.
Right.
To just try easy problems, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You have to try hard to get stronger.
I think it'd be a really interesting thought experiment to ask you like what you would do if climbing harder on rock was your goal. You know, like if you wanted to climb 15B again or climb 15C or V15, maybe that's a better example since that sounds like an actual goal for you. What would you do differently if you were just trying to become, you know, the strongest version of yourself on rock again?
I would definitely climb more. That's the first thing. I think I would also, and that's the sad truth, I guess, that I would have to lose some weight. Because when I was stronger, I was also lighter. And like I'm naturally a little bit heavier. So I would always have to be at a low, like unnaturally low weight. And that was for me the most difficult part about being a professional climber. The fact that I had to, like right now I'm like 70, 71 kilos. I can pretty easily go down to 68, 69. But to be in top shape for lead climbing, I was like 64 kilos, something around that. So that was like also the biggest relief when I retired. The fact that I could gain some weight and climb and be just happy, you know, with my climbing. And that is also maybe part of the reason why I don't want to go back to that life, you know. Because right now, at least, I don't feel like it's worth it for me to be unhappy and climbing hard.
Yeah. What about for bouldering? Do you think
I've done that for so many years, you know.
Yeah, totally. What about for bouldering? Do you think you'd be able to climb your hardest at your current body weight without having to worry about that? Yeah. For
bouldering is definitely it's different. So that's why I think also the 8C goal would be better. Yeah, I would. Maybe I would still have to lose some weight, but I don't think so. I think you can climb. I would be able to climb pretty hard at this weight, and I mean that's also something I don't talk about in my videos and stuff too much. At least weight and eating and stuff, and that's because a lot of climbers are struggling with eating disorders, and it is. I feel like every sport has something negative to it. And for climbing, it's definitely like weight. And a lot of people struggle with it. And myself included, I also struggled with it growing up. Like at certain times I was like hardly eating at all.
Man. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you're talking about it right now because I actually, you had like a kind of a throwaway comment in one of the videos that I watched this morning before we jumped on here, and you were like, yeah, you were just going about your gym session. You're like, yeah, I feel, you know, a little bit weaker on the wall because I'm a few kilos more right now, but I think you just said like it's worth it to feel happy and to feel healthy. Which is, you know, you just said that in like a sentence, but like that, there's a lot there. That's like a really profound statement actually, and I wonder if you could elaborate on that. Like, what is it that feels different, and how do you feel?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, like the problem in the videos, because it's something that I definitely want to talk more about, but it's hard to talk about it without promoting it, kind of. Because that's how it was for me, I tried to lose a couple of kilos and I felt like I was getting a lot stronger, and then it was hard to quit. You just wanted to keep losing weight. And that's why it's very difficult to talk about. And I just want to promote like a healthy lifestyle. And for me, that is not caring about performing at the highest level possible, but to be happy with my climbing. And that's, of course, it's hard because I've been at a higher level. It's probably even harder to do that. But that's why I said that in the video, because that's kind of what I want to promote, Yeah, I mean, of course, it's a little bit different when you're a professional climber and you make a living off of it. But if you're not, I think just having a happy, healthy life is more important.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Like I've known so many people who've struggled with it and stuff. So I just want to be really careful and not promote it, because I mean, I don't have that many kids watching, but I know I do have some kids watching my videos, and that's why I don't want to. I don't even talk about what I eat really and stuff because of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, you still look jacked and super strong and fit and everything. So, I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I wanted to ask you, how many do you climb? Like, how much harder do you climb with your shirt off, do you think?
Yeah, no, I actually don't think I climb much harder without my shirt. Not anymore, at least. Maybe I used to. But now it depends on other things. It's just, I don't know, now it's more like a joke for the video, to be honest. But now I do feel a little bit lighter, though. It's just like a trigger,
Yeah.
So
it's like go time.
Yeah, maybe half a grade. Yeah.
It was really fun again to watch your collaboration with Adam Ondra, and you train with him in his little like dojo that he's created. If you were to just fully pursue a climbing goal, let's say it's V15, are there any drills or ideas, training ideas, anything that you would take from him and try to apply?
No, I don't think so, actually. I believe that we're all different, and like I don't believe in copying someone else's program or anything. I might like try to copy some of the motivation and like the intensity that he has, but I would never try to do like his program or anything. I have stuff that I know works for me, like the hangboarding stuff. And I also think that just climbing more outside would really help me. I would probably just travel around and climb outside. I don't think you have to climb inside. You don't have to train inside for an outside project. You can just climb outside. I think that's better training. To train for what you're actually going to do,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know a lot of people set I know a lot of people set a problem on an inside wall to kind of copy it. But if you have the chance of just going outside and trying the exact boulder instead, I think that's better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Adam's a great example of that too. Like, he trains a lot, but he spends more time on hard 9th grade routes than just about anybody in the world. So, yeah, this is a question from Andrew. Maybe we've covered it already, but I'll just ask it anyway to see if you have any additional thoughts. Andrew asked, during his time with Ondra, were there any habits or tendencies he noticed that stood out to him as different than other top climbers he's been around? What was the biggest takeaway from their time together?
I don't know. I mean, I already knew him, so there wasn't that much new. He has a coach who's not a climber. I thought that was pretty interesting. He used to do track. That was his background. So I definitely think that's different from other climbers. Having a trainer who's never done the sport is strange. But it's probably good, because Adam knows so much about training and climbing that he doesn't need any help with that. He just needs help with like all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's different. And also thought it was interesting that he still drinks alcohol occasionally.
Okay.
But he couldn't say it on camera or anything. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say it here, but I thought he would be like not drinking at all.
Yeah.
But I think he does it like pretty often to like just a little tiny bit to like relax kind of.
Okay.
So that was interesting. I mean, everything about him is interesting. And also his whole team, how many people is involved. I think that was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, first of all, it's just a dedication, He tries so hard every time. And he's also not afraid of failure. I think a lot of people in his position would be afraid to go to a bouldering gym and try because they would be afraid of failing.
Mm.
And also to, like, in competitions and stuff. He even competes in, like, national competitions, even though I don't know why he does that, because it's so easy for him. Everyone expects him to win, so he has nothing to gain, everything to lose.
Mm.
But he still wants to compete in every competition, and I don't know, he just wants to do everything and climb everything and win everything. So yeah, he's just so like hungry, because I think motivated is not the right word for what he is. He's like hungry. Because you can definitely be motivated without trying as hard as he does.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, thanks for your thoughts on that. That's really interesting. Magnus, who inspires you? And this could be climbers, this could be YouTubers, this could be other content creators or creatives. Who are the people that you draw inspiration from these days?
Right now, I don't really have that many people I like draw inspiration from, because there's not that many people doing the same things as I do, I guess. So I can't really think of anyone right now. I've been asked this before and I can't think of anyone.
Okay. Well, let's try a different angle then. I'm curious, like, how you come up with new ideas and new collaborations. Like, what do you draw, ideas and motivations from as far as creating new content?
No, that's also difficult because there's not really a channel I watch and think like and try to copy or anything.
Yeah.
I used to do that. Earlier. Like I would watch a lot of other like fitness channels and stuff. But now I feel like I've found my way of doing YouTube. So usually when I watch YouTube videos, I watch tutorials on either cameras or editing.
Okay.
I have a lot of, I watched like, I don't know, like I used to watch Peter McKinnon and all those like photographers, Daniel Schiffer, a lot of tutorials, like editing and video tutorials. I don't watch that much climbing anymore either. I like to watch like World Cups competitions, and but that's about the only thing I watch on YouTube. Yeah, and sometimes I watch Mellow, and I watch some of the Adam Ondra stuff on YouTube.
Well, as far as like collecting your own content, let's take this trip to California as an example. So you have this trip coming up, you're getting psyched. How do you decide who you want to collaborate with? Like, how does that all come together, I guess? Do you just have like a running list in your mind of people that you would be excited to team up with? Or do you have like a specific strategy for who you're going to connect with when you go to a certain place?
Yeah, I mean, I just reach out to people usually, but I'm kind of scared to reach out to people.
Yeah.
Or sometimes at least.
I can relate, yeah.
Because you never know if they like your video or like if they think what you do is silly. So especially like Alex Honnold, I would never have reached out to if it wasn't for the fact that he sent me a text message, like a month probably before the trip, just telling me that he really liked my videos and stuff. And that was so surprising to me. I never thought he would watch my stuff. So then I had a good excuse to ask him if he wanted to do a video when I came to the US. And luckily he said yes. But if it wasn't for that, I would have never reached out to him. And it was the same with Adam too, because it was his manager who commented on my video asking if I wanted to do a collaboration with Adam, because I think I mentioned Adam in a video or something, and he commented on my video asking if I wanted to come to Czech. And yeah, so I don't know. My girlfriend also says this to me all the time, that I should reach out to more people, you know, because then you can make collaborations with bigger creators. But I don't know. I don't want to force anyone to be in my videos, you know. So that's definitely something I'm working on and that I should try to be better at.
Do you have dream collaborations? Do you have like people that seem unreachable that you would just love to do a collaboration with someday?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of YouTube channels I would love to collaborate with. Like Yes Theory, I think would be a good match. Who else? Yeah, there's a fitness YouTuber, Brownie would be a good match, I think. Stuff like being on the Joe Rogan podcast, of course, would be huge, you know. I know there are a lot of channels that I would love to collaborate with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my voice it sounds like I'm crying, but I'm not crying. It's just my voice cracking. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also with this chair, it sounds like I'm farting, but I'm not farting.
Oh, I can't hear it over
sound.
Zoom, so we'll just pick it up on the phone. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks, man. I've had you talk for an hour and a half already or so. So I think I'll let you go here pretty soon. I just have a few more questions for you.
Yeah, no problem.
Where are things going for you? You know, as far as this YouTube channel goes, as far as wanting to challenge yourself and grow, keeping novelty, but also I imagine like there's got to be this balance of like having new ideas that are interesting and exciting, but also just continuing to do what's working and not feeling like you have to reinvent the wheel all the time. But do you have goals now? Like you've hit 1 million subscribers. That's a huge milestone. Is there a next goal? Is there a vision for what you want the channel to become? Anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to keep experimenting with other types of videos. I definitely want to keep growing. I don't think 10 million is possible, but again, I never thought 1 million was possible either. So you never know, you know. I'm going to keep going until the channel dies out. Eventually it will. And I'm not going to be afraid of experimenting with new ideas. I'm probably going to do a lot of mistakes. Yeah, it's so hard to predict what's gonna what people want to watch, you know. So I just have to try a bunch of different things and see. But no, it's definitely like I think after YouTube, like I kind of look forward to it because I will in many ways I will have my life back. I can travel, I can climb outside, I can be with friends. But at the same time, I think it will be very lonely. I think I will get very lonely because it feels like you've lost all your friends, you know, that you've had for all these years. So I don't know. I say now that I want to do this for a certain amount of time and then I want to retire, but it might not be the case. I don't think I will know until I know, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll do YouTube forever. If it was possible, maybe I would. But I definitely like spending more time on a project. You know, doing quick videos doesn't really interest me that much. I would love to spend like maybe a month or something on a really high quality video that I would be really proud of. And that would be nice. I would love to make more like kind of the like documentary kind of videos that I just, because now, even though I spend 30, 40 hours on a video, I could spend a lot more, you know. I could spend 400 hours on a video.
Wow.
And I could also spend a lot more time filming a video because I usually don't spend that much time filming a video. That usually only takes 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes 4 or 5 hours. But so it's definitely the editing process that takes a lot of time. So I mean, something like that. As I'm growing, maybe I don't have to upload every week, maybe once a month, and just do something that's higher quality would be nice. I would like to. That's the thing. Like I like being behind the camera probably more than I like being in front of the camera. So if I could film someone else and still kind of be part of the video, either doing the comment, like interviewing, or somehow being also part of the video, I think that would be very interesting. So that could potentially be the future of the channel. Like not me being in every video, but me making every video, producing every video, filming, editing, but not being in front of the camera all the time.
That's really cool, man. I can actually really see you moving into more of like an interviewing role, because the few times you have done that, like when you collaborated with Adam and some of your other collaborations, like you seem to just naturally be interested. Like you have a lot of curiosity and you ask really thoughtful questions. I always think you do a good job interviewing people.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I think, and also just the editing process, because that's the creative process, you know. So yeah, whenever I interview stuff, I think it's important that I edit the videos, because I know what the good questions were and the not so good questions. So I always want to, I want to keep editing my own videos, even though it takes a long time. For me, it's a very rewarding process of the whole thing.
You know, that's cool. That actually is like, that kind of validates me. Because I've had a number of friends say like, why are you still, like, you can find someone to do the editing for you. You know, you'd have so much more free time if you did that. It just seems like a lot of podcasters, that's like the natural progression. You know, once you make enough money to be able to outsource that, that's the first thing that you give away because it takes so much time. But I feel really similarly, like my editing is really closely tied to how I interview people.
Yeah.
And it's...
and no one's going to care as much about your podcast as you do.
Yes.
That's what I feel about my videos. Whenever I have given material to someone else, I feel like it's like a half-finished product. They don't take those extra 10, 15 hours to really perfect it, because for them, it's just a job, you know? But for me, my channel is, I mean, it's my life. Like, I don't want to put out anything that could have been better. For me, that's the thing. Like, no one's going to care as much about my videos as I do. So that's why I don't want to get an editor.
Can I ask you about the financial side? I know that's touchy and you don't have to answer this, but I just have zero concept of what a YouTuber with 1 million subscribers, like, do you make a great living doing this? Is it still just like, okay, I can get by, but it's normal? I mean, I know you have other things going on too. You're an owner or partial owner in these different gyms, and you have a clothing brand now. But is it like fame and riches, or, you know?
Well, you don't get paid by the subscriber. So
right. Okay.
You get paid by not even views. You get paid by minutes watched, kind of, or advertisements watched.
Okay.
So it's about like having a lot of views, but also a lot of minutes watch time. So it's very complicated, and it goes up and down from month to month. But like, YouTube is what has allowed me to invest in all the climbing gyms and everything that I've done. So it's definitely, and as a professional climber, I was making very little compared to what I'm making now. So it's definitely, right now, it's a very comfortable living for me, and I'm able to invest money into other things. But I don't take it for granted, though. It's not like this is going to last forever. So that's why I'm investing in gyms and stuff.
Got it. Well, I'm really happy to hear that, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
You've earned it. You deserve it. Yeah, that must feel really good. So that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, it does feel good. I mean, I never, like, when I started this, I never thought it'd be possible to make a living off of it.
Yeah.
And but it kind of it happens overnight, kind of. So yeah, I'm very grateful, and I don't take it for granted at all.
What is something, you can name more than one thing too, but what are a few things that you wish you had known when you started that you now know?
With YouTube or climbing?
Actually, that's a really good question. I was asking YouTube, but I think it'd be really interesting to hear your thoughts on both. But yeah, let's start with YouTube.
Well, with YouTube, I wish I knew that, like the thing about like thumbnails and titles, how important that is. I wish I knew that. I wish I could be more just genuine from the start. When I look at myself the first few years, I was like, it feels like I was a different person, kind of. I was shy and I was just like hiding behind someone who wasn't me. So I wish I could be more just real from the start. For me, like I didn't have any talent for YouTube, but somehow it worked. And I think it's just my stubbornness. I kept going and I tried to improve. And yeah, over the years, I got better.
How long have you been doing it now?
5 years.
Okay.
5.5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I was really shy in front of a camera, and I didn't know anything about cameras or editing or anything about YouTube. But yeah, apart from that, there's nothing really that I wish I knew about YouTube. I'm glad I didn't know how much work it would be, because I think if I knew how much work it'd be, then I wouldn't have started.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ignorance was good.
What about for climbing? Are there any things that come to mind, things you wish you'd known earlier on?
Yeah, I mean, for climbing, I just wish that I knew, because I had too much respect in the beginning for grades and for people, and like I thought it was impossible. I thought everything was impossible. I wish I didn't have any respect for grades, or like I wish I just had tried everything and knew how good it was possible to become, like because every generation says this, like when the next generation comes and they do something groundbreaking that they didn't even think was humanly possible. So I just wish that I didn't have any limitations, or I didn't have any respect, because I thought that like 9A plus was the hardest thing that was ever going to be climbed.
Yeah.
I truly believe that. When Chris Sharma climbed Realization, I thought that, well, that is it. No one's going to ever be better than Chris Sharma. No one's ever going to climb anything harder. But then the next generation climbed something harder, and so I just wish that I had that vision. That I thought that nothing was impossible. But I think that's the biggest thing. Of course, I wish I trained harder and stuff, but that's easy to say in retrospect.
Cool. That was a really good answer. Yeah, that's super interesting. And I think so many of us I think we all have limitations, and I think they're really interesting because, now like my limited belief in myself has nothing to do with how hard people have climbed, because, Adam Ondra has shown us all that 15D is possible. But a lot of my limitations or self-limiting beliefs probably come from like who I learned to climb from and what climbing looked like around me where I started. And I think we're always, like all of us are working on breaking those down and believing that more is possible.
If you think something is going to be easy, then it will be easy, I always thought stuff would be super hard. I always thought that like 9A plus would be impossible for me to climb. So, I mean, it's good to be humble, but I don't think he does you any favors in climbing.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But it's good for what do you call it? It's good to be humble when it comes to like personal life. It's good to be humble, Otherwise, you will be without friends. But in climbing, I don't think it's I don't think it's good.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's going to go on a bumper sticker of some kind. I'll find a way to. I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, but that's also what you see with like Adam Ondra and a lot of other climbers. It feels like they have two different personalities. They're so humble when you meet them in person, and then they can almost seem a little bit arrogant when they're climbing in a competition because they turn something on. And I mean, I was a little bit like that myself too, but I wish I had more of that.
Wow.
I wish I could just turn on like a psychopath switch and just, I don't know, go crazy and not have any respect. Yeah.
Just like ultimate self-confidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
That, I think that'd be good. Yeah. As long as you're able to turn it off. Yeah.
Right. Man, you've built this really unique and amazing life for yourself. Congratulations again, and I just commend you on all the hard work, and it really shows in the product and the videos that you create. They're so interesting, they're so engaging. I've actually learned a lot from watching them, not just about you, but about climbing, about a lot of things. What are some of your favorite parts of like life, opportunities that have come out of this whole thing that you didn't expect?
I don't know, just so many things. So, the way I'm living my life now is just, it's just very different. I've met so many people through YouTube. And I also think I learned a lot about myself because I'm editing myself so much. I become aware of bad habits. In the beginning, I remember that I was making so many excuses always. And I always had to cut away those excuses. So that's something I've actually stopped doing in real life because I became so aware of that.
Wow.
Because I was like editing myself all the time. So stuff like that, I think, because you are actually able to see yourself from the outside more often than normal people. So yeah, that's definitely something a little bit different. But also, I don't know, I've also learned that I used to think that climbing was everything in my life. And now I don't really believe that anymore. And I also like the fact that I've been able to I made climbing, which was a passion. I made that into like a job, a profession. And now I've made something that I'm equally excited about, like YouTube. I made that into something that I can live off of. But first of all, I mean, I just feel extremely privileged to be able to do this. And I think that's really important, that I stay grounded and I don't take it for granted. Don't get lazy with my editing and my videos. I always have to try to keep evolving, and yeah, that's what I try to remind myself. Because I'm definitely hungry for more.
Okay, so you have this climbing passion, you have this YouTube passion, and you can kind of see that this YouTube passion might not last forever. Hopefully it does.
Yeah.
Are there any other things that you love doing that you would, future you, like 10 years from now, maybe like a chapter of your life devoted to something totally different? Are there any things like that come to mind?
Yeah, I love traveling. Traveling, hiking, exploring. And I used to travel a lot, but I used to travel for like competitions and to go to a climbing area or something. I would love to just like go backpacking or something, or sailing for a year or something. Yeah, I'd love that. So I don't know, there's so much more that I want to do in life. And hopefully I can do that after I'm done with YouTube, even though I don't want to be done with it. Maybe I can take a break from YouTube and do that stuff and then return to YouTube. That would be ideal.
Well, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate your time today. It's been good to get to know you. You're a really thoughtful guy. Yeah, I really enjoyed and I'm going to be excited to re-listen to some of your answers there. I think you have some really good insights into climbing, into life. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what's next for you. I actually want to ask you that. What's next for you? What's coming up?
Not that much,
Lots of
really.
editing.
Lots of editing this summer. And I don't really have any plans, but now that the borders have opened, I think I will be traveling a lot. Just making YouTube videos from anywhere. Yeah, I don't really have a plan in life. I never had a plan, and it has always worked out. So, yeah, I don't want to plan things really. I think life is also more exciting that way. So I tend to not have a plan and like that better.
Well, for people that are listening to this that are just getting to know you, what would you love for them to check out? Where can they follow you, etc.?
Well, I guess that's YouTube. I'm not that active on Instagram, so that's my YouTube channel. And that's just my name.
How do you pronounce your last name? Magnus Midtbø? Is it?
Yeah, Midtbo. Yeah.
How do you say your last name?
Midtbø.
Midtbø. Okay.
Midtbø, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll be sure to link to your YouTube channel for people that want to check it out. What about favorite videos? Good places for people to start to find out what your channel's about. Do you have any that you're most proud of or that you think are good recommendations for people?
I don't know. It just depends on what you're into, I guess.
Okay. Maybe I'll share some of my favorite.
Yeah, you just do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a real privilege to have you. I'm really glad that you were willing to do this. I know how busy you are, and you were really generous with your time today, and it was super fun. So thanks again.
Yeah, likewise.
Thanks to everyone for listening. We'll put all the links in the show notes, per usual, at thenuggetclimbing.com, and we will see you guys next time. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Magnus. Thank you so much for listening to the full thing. I have a few quick notes for you before you go. If you haven't already, be sure to check out Magnus's YouTube channel. It's really entertaining. I really enjoy it. It's fascinating to me how interesting it is to watch Magnus and his friends climbing in the gym. But he's so good at doing this, and he keeps it really entertaining with all these challenges that he's doing and things like that. So be sure to check it out. I'll put a link to it right there in your podcast app and in the show notes at thenuggetclimbing.com. And be sure to check out Petzl. Shop for Petzl helmets at your local climbing shop or online at petzl.com and get top and side protection to keep your noggin safe, just in case, God forbid, the unexpected happens. Experience the difference with Petzl. Also, be sure to check out Crimpd. Head over to crimpd.com or find the Crimpd app in the App Store. The free version gives you access to 75 different workouts created by professional coaches. It's awesome, so go check it out and see if you like it. It's free. Also, be sure to check out PhysiVantage. I take their supercharged collagen every day to support my finger training. I can't recommend it enough if you're training your fingers. Head over to PhysiVantage.com. Use code NUGGET15 at checkout. You'll save 15% off your next order. And try out some collagen. And finally, be sure to check out Chalk Cartel. I actually have an entire box of Chalk Cartel in my van because it's the only chalk I want to climb with. If you're ready to try it yourself, head over to chalkcartel.com. Use code NUGGET for 20% off your next order. It's my favorite chalk, and I know you'll love it. And that is it, my friends. Thank you so much again for listening to the very end. I really appreciate you guys. Done a lot of episodes, and it's so fun to still have so many of you listening and so many new listeners tuning in. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Much love to all of you, and we will see you next time.
Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it. Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.